Today's show features yet another Damian Lillard update as the news surrounding Dame time is never ending, and that's why we cover it here at the Heat Report. But we're also talking about a potential Buddy Hield trade because apparently the Pacers and Hield are working on a trade, and I do think the Heat could be interested in one specific scenario that we will get into a little bit later. But we start off with Dame, and the latest update around him is the fact that there's no really market heating up for Mr. Lillard. Aaron J. Fentress, who covers the Portland Trail Blazers, said this: "I'm told that there's not great traction in these areas, that they're really not being wowed by anything that's substantial," and this was in regards to trade offers outside of the Miami Heat's offer that the Blazers and Joe Cronin expected to receive. But is that really surprising? Are we actually shocked that the Blazers are not receiving good trade offers from teams not named the Miami Heat? I don't think it's surprising, and I'm going to tell you why it's not surprising in a bit, but we are in the midst of a big-time sub-battle in the month of September against our 76ers Now channel, and it's been an absolute battle through the first half of the month, right? We're at 177 new subs, so thank you for everyone who's joined the channel, but we're still trailing by about 23 subscribers, and I just can't stand losing, and especially to the city of Philadelphia. So make sure you hit that sub button. Beat the 76ers. You also get the best Dame coverage and Miami Heat coverage on YouTube. All right, back to why it's not surprising to me that Damian Lillard is not being someone sought after by other teams not named the Miami Heat. I love Dame. He is a terrific basketball player and would make any team in the NBA better than it is right now. There is no arguing that, realistically. But there's not a lot to love on the Damian Lillard trade front if you're not the Miami Heat. He's got some blemishes, right? Why? He's 33 years old, so he's an old cat, and even though he could still put up 30 a night, there is still concern about that drop-off because when you're a 6'2 point guard who is that old, there's going to be some concerns. He also has a massive contract, which means not a lot of teams are going to be able to afford it, one, and they're not going to want to trade for a 33-year-old guard who has 4 years, $200+ million left on his deal. And then the fact that he only wants the Miami Heat is going to turn a lot of teams off. So the Blazers, if they expected other teams to jump in and send their best assets for Damian Lillard, it doesn't make sense because you might get a disgruntled Dame even if you made that trade. So when you combine these three things right here, I don't get why teams would even go in for Damian Lillard, let alone trade for him if you're not the Miami Heat. And Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN had this to say about the Damian Lillard trade market that I found very interesting. The Miami Heat want Damian Lillard. They just want to get him for as little as they're going to have to give up, and they're essentially daring Portland to go out into the marketplace, which Portland is doing, and see if they can find better. But we just mentioned that they aren't finding anything better than what the Miami Heat is offering. So my question is, Pat Riley basically daring Joe Cronin and the Trailblazers to go find other offers that are better than Miami's, and he might be playing this as perfect as possible. There is still a lot to see and see how this plays out, but if Pat Riley is able to get Dame for cheaper than what is expected because he's saying, Portland, go see if you could find a better offer, we bet you can't, and they can't, and then Dame comes to Miami, Pat Riley could be executive of the year. But I'll ask you this. Do you trust what Pat Riley's doing? It's definitely a ballsy move. There's no getting around that. Basically telling the team that we're going after that you can't find a better offer than ours and daring them to go find it, that's a crazy move. But do you trust Pat Riley? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I do have a little bit of a conspiracy regarding this little report from Aaron J. Fentress about not finding another package outside of Miami that they like. This report is very intriguing to me, right? Like, this could easily be the Blazers leaking out that there isn't any offer outside of Miami that they like to soften a blow to the NBA media and public that they accept a lesser Miami Heat trade package, and then they could go back to the report 2 weeks ago and say, well, guys, look, there was no one really offering anything else. It is a little bit of a conspiracy theory, but I do believe it's possible that this is just some more propaganda that Cronin and the Blazers are pushing to when they do finally accept that Miami trade offer, it doesn't make them look as bad. I will say this, though. It seems like my prediction was wrong. If you remember on Monday's video, I said that my Damian Lillard trade prediction is that it was going to happen today, on Thursday. Well, unless things change very rapidly, it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. And just like our good pal Dion Waiters once said, right? Like, I'd rather go 0 for 20 than 0 for 1 because if I went 0 for 1, I lost confidence. So I'm going to keep on shooting on my Damian Lillard trade predictions. New prediction, it's going to happen Saturday. All right, let's move on. But before we do that, we do have some Twitter shout-outs to give from yesterday. I said if you followed me on Twitter, the first 5 people would get a follow back and a shout-out on today's show. Mr. New York or Mr. Nye, La Drewski, Patrick Griffin, Fabulous 305, and Alberto Cabrera. Shout out to you guys, and you won't regret it. You're going to get the most informed Miami Heat news and coverage on my Twitter. We also have one of the best sports book on the marketplace. Just like Damian Lillard's the best trade guy, BetUS is one of the best sports books in the game, and we're offering, or they are offering, I should say, one of the best deals out there. Because if you go to chatsports.com/bet and enter promo code chat125, you're going to get a 125% deposit bonus, which means you put in $100, you're going to get $125 from BetUS, giving you $225 to play with. There isn't going to be a better deal out there. Go bet on the NFL, college football, or even the NBA preseason is just about 2 weeks away. BetUS, chatsports.com/bet, promo code chat125. You're basically losing money if you don't go use it right now. All right, next on the program, should the Heat trade for Buddy Hield? Because according to Shams Charania, he tweeted this yesterday, that the Pacers and Buddy Hield are looking to make a trade happen after extension talks are no good. This is what Shams had to say. Said after contract extension negotiations stalled out, Buddy Hield and the Pacers have started dialogue to work on finding a potential trade, league sources say. And Buddy Hield becoming available is very intriguing because there's a lot of teams that would be interested in his services. He's one of the best shooters in the NBA. He only has 1 year left on his contract, and it's a very enticing deal for a team looking to win now. This is exactly what Shams had to say in his article. He said multiple teams are expected to express interest in a possible trade for Buddy Hield, and those conversations are expected to continue as NBA training camp opens up over the next 2 weeks. Do I think the Heat could be one of those teams interested in Hield? Possibly. But I will say it would only come on one specific scenario. And when you think of how the Heat would get Buddy Hield, it actually would be pretty easy. And I'll give you my trade idea in a second. The one problem is his $18.5 million contract and the fact that we basically have a maybe better version of Buddy Hield on the roster, but maybe he's gone, and that's a specific scenario. But I'll ask you right now, be the GM. Be Pat Riley. Would you trade for Buddy Hield? Type T for trade, type P for pass. He's a very good player, and he would make the Heat better. There's no doubt about it. But should the Heat do that? If you look at what Hield's done over the past 4 seasons, you can see why he would be very coveted around the association. He is consistently putting up 15, 16-plus points a night, 4-plus rebounds, and he is a very efficient basketball player as well. Sure, he struggles from the field, but that's because he's specifically a three-point shooter. And when you look at those marksman-type numbers, 39, 39, 36 in a little bit of a down year, but back up to 42.5 this year. Buddy Hield is one of the best shooters in the NBA. He's also someone who can score the rock, and he's been the second or third option in Indiana over the last 4 seasons. But if he was the 4th option or 5th option on the Miami Heat, those efficiency levels might be able to take a jump up. Yeah, the points per game would probably go down, but the efficiency would go up. And if he were to be that 4th guy next to Dame, Jimmy, or Bam, where he's not getting a lot of attention from opposing defenses, he could be an elite scorer and elite asset. In the one scenario I mentioned that would make the Heat potentially trade for Buddy Hield, it's if Tyler Herro was shipped in a Damian Lillard trade. Obviously, they're not going to go out for Buddy Hield if they still have Tyler Herro on the team. But say Herro does go in the Dame deal, and then you're looking for a shooter/scorer at that 2-guard position or even as a 6th man. Buddy Hield could absolutely be that guy. And if you compare what Tyler Herro and Buddy Hield did last season, you can see that Herro is the better overall scorer. But Hield, when you look at what he specifically can do as a 3-point marksman, is second to none. Herro averages about 3.5 points more per game. He averages more rebounds and more assists. Shoots a little bit worse from the field and worse from three-point range, but that's because Buddy Hield is a top 5 shooter in the NBA. When you think of shooters that could be better than him, honestly, I really only think it's 2 or 3 guys. Like, I say he's top 5, but he easily could be that third. Curry and Dame are probably the 2 best shooters in the NBA, and then you've probably maybe got Desmond Bane, and Buddy Hield is right up there as well. I mean, Hield can absolutely shoot the rock out. And I mentioned his contract a little bit earlier, but he's only got 1 year, $18.5 million left on that 4-year, $90+ million extension he signed a little bit ago after getting traded from Sacramento to the Indiana Pacers. And this actually works out very, very nicely for the Heat. I know you might be concerned about that number being a little too large, but it actually is perfect. Why? Because Duncan Robinson is making damn near the same amount of money this upcoming year. Duncan has 3 more years left on his deal rather than Hield's 1, but they are both making $18 million this upcoming season, which means if you traded Duncan Robinson for Buddy Hield, it would be an even swap for money, so you're not anything concerned financial, and then you just have to sweeten the deal so the Pacers would accept. I think they could consider that 2 second-round picks for Hield. Why? Because Duncan's got 3 years left. Hield's got 1. Hield and them could not get an extension done. And if they still want a 3-point marksman alongside Tyrese Halliburton, Miles Turner, and Benedict Mathurin, I think Duncan Robinson could slide in and be that guy. Plus the Pacers get a couple second-round picks. I think they could be in on that deal. And I'll say this, though. If the Heat do make this move, it's another all-in move. Hield's got 1 year left on his contract. You are getting Damian Lillard. Hield's also 30. You're probably not going to be able to extend Buddy Hield past this season because then he is going to want a significant amount of cash. So you're not going to be able to do that when you have Bam, Jimmy, and Dame under contract because you want to fill out the rest of the roster outside of those big 3 with better role players. But you can absolutely make the argument that if you have Hield as your starting 2 guard or that 6th man as the 4th scorer on this team, it's an all-in move and it makes the Heat a better or have the Heat have a better chance to win the NBA championship. So I'll circle back to this trade. Hield to the Heat, Duncan Robinson, and 2 second-round picks to the Indiana Pacers. Are you accepting this trade? Type A for accept, type D for decline. Let me know in the comment section. I'm going full send. Like I said, if you have Dame and Jimmy, who are both 33 and 35 years old respectively, you're not having a lot more of a championship window than you have right now. And the best way to take care of that championship window is to get the best and most, or the more best players you have on the team. And Buddy Hield would absolutely help the Miami Heat win a championship. And like I said, I couldn't think of a better 4th option than Hield because when you combine his scoring and his shooting, it would be perfect alongside Dame, Jimmy, and Bam. That's going to do it for today's show. If a Buddy Hield trade does happen, or the Damian Lillard trade does finally happen, we are going to go live and make a video, have you guys covered with everything Miami Heat. So make sure you join the channel and subscribe because we're doing it better than anyone else.